Hello everyone and welcome to our channel. We hope everyone are doing fine and today we have Mr. Santosh sir with us. Santosh sir did his B.Tech from Sri Chamarajendra College of Engineering in Electrical Engineering and he was a gold medalist in his B.Tech. Later he moved to University of Southern California in a Viterbi School of Engineering and he is pursuing his masters in computer architecture and VLSI design. Now he is working as a CPU verification intern in NVIDIA in Texas. First of all, I would like to thank you for giving your time, sir, for giving us the valuable time for this interview on our YouTube channel, VLSI for all, sir. Sir, can you introduce yourself to the audience, sir? Hello? Hello, sir.
Um, yeah, hi. I think you have pretty much given an introduction about me. My name is Santosh Apachu Devendra Puvaya. I'm currently pursuing my MS in computer engineering, focusing on computer architecture and VLSI systems design at University of Southern California under the Viterbi School of Engineering. A brief background about myself: I completed my Bachelor's of Engineering undergrad at Sri Chaithamrajendra College of Engineering, Mysore. I was a student of 2013 to 2017 academic year with my bachelor's in electrical and electronics engineering. My overall CGPA during my undergrad was 9.83 out of 10, and I was a gold medalist for that academic year. After my undergraduation, I started my corporate career as a software developer for Robert Bosch Business and Engineering Solutions in Bangalore. In total, I have 4 years of work experience. After having 4 years of work experience, I decided that I want to pursue my master's, and that's when I moved to Los Angeles to pursue my master's at USC. During my summer, I interned as a CPU verification intern for NVIDIA Austin team, focusing on the CPU plus GPU full system verification intern. And I'll be joining NVIDIA as a full-time CPU verification engineer starting May 2023. Yeah, that's pretty much about me.
So congratulations, sir, for the NVIDIA full-time opportunity option offer, sir.
Yep,
Sir,
thank you.
after the B.Tech, sir, you have joined the Robert Bosch. Sir, can you share your experience, sir? What work you have done in that company, and how was your overall experience?
Yeah. I think when I was in my seventh semester during my undergrad, I got campus recruited by Robert Bosch. During the on-campus placements, and I started my career at Robert Bosch as a associate software developer. And after working for 1 year, I was promoted to software developer. And after 2 years down the lane, I was promoted to senior software developer. When I say it's a software developer, I was completely not into software, but you can consider that as a software development for a firmware as well as the embedded platform development. It was mainly about how the firmware for Bosch and Siemens smart home appliances are basically achieved in an industry with mainly focusing on a C++ programming language on the Linux platform. If there are students from electronics and communication or electrical engineering or instrumentation technology, then you will exactly know like what exactly is a firmware when it comes to the hardware components and embedded platform. It was pretty much about the software development for both the firmware as well as the embedded platform.
Okay, sir. Sir, thank you for sharing your experience, sir. Sir, I think, sir, you are also published one paper in the international journal, sir. How is the complete process, and what was your reaction when the paper got published?
Yeah, I think when I was in third year of engineering, I had published a paper for IJSRD. It's called International Journal for Scientific Research and Development. I think they basically give opportunities for all the students in India when you're doing your undergrad, wherein if you have any ideas with respect to the current domain that you are studying at your college, it might be any, it's not like, you need to know how exactly to implement that idea, but if you have any idea, then you can actually start writing a paper. One important thing when you write a paper that you have to take care is you cannot copy the sources from the net or any other sources, because there's going to be a plagiarism check. And once you publish the paper, your plagiarism has to be below 5%. If your plagiarism is below 5%, then probably they're going to evaluate like what are the strengths and weaknesses of the paper, and they're going to publish that paper in IJSRD. My reaction, yes, when you're undergrad in an India, like, when you're doing engineering, it's always good to do a lot of internships as well as publish these kind of papers so that you exactly know, like, what's happening in the outside world other than the college where you're studying in. So it was a good reaction. Like, I was happy. They also give you a certificate, by the way, like if you publish it, they give you an official certificate, and they're going to publish your paper in one of their journals, and they're going to, give even in which journal and what volume they have published your paper.
Sir, after working in the Bosch as a software engineer, sir, you decided to move to the masters. And sir, what motivates you to go for masters? And that too, sir, that too in the US, not for the from the India by giving the gate examination. So what was your reason behind this, sir?
Well, I had plans of doing my master's immediately after my undergrad, but the main thing is, since I was campus recruited by Robert Bosch, I thought that it's always better to come to the US if at all you want to pursue a master's with at least two years of work experience, I would say. But because of the pandemic, it got extended from 2 to 3 years. Then again, it got extended from 3 to 4 years. But I had plans of doing my master's initially. So with respect to choosing the place where I want to do my master's, one thing like I have kind of my family over here. Like my sister lives in the US, so that was one reason why I chose US. And why not masters in India? So I wanted to explore the education system as well as how things work outside the country, not only in India, but I had applied for colleges both in Canada as well as the US, but US was my first preference. And you have a lot of good opportunities in the US when it comes to the job industry. And of course, one more thing is the salary that you get. So with respect to the perks and the salary, so you might not be getting that pretty much good salary in India after doing your M.Tech, compared to the pay scale that you get in the US after doing your MS over here. So that's the main reason why I chose MS in the US.
Sir, can you share your experience of what type of papers they have to give and what types of the skills, the SOP, and all the reference they have to other than the papers? So so that the audience can know better that how to get admit in the US for the masters.
Okay, so the first and the foremost thing, if any of you are planning to do your master's, the first thing is do a lot of research about which university you want to go in. Like if at all you're choosing the computer architecture and VLSI specialization, just go dive in and see what's the curriculum that every college is offering so that you exactly know that which college has a good curriculum. Three things that probably you'll have to keep in mind while applying for universities. So don't apply for universities blindly. Don't apply for all the top universities to come to US to pursue your master's. There are two kind of universities. One is going to be a top university, one is going to be a mid-level university, and one is going to be like okay to do universities. So that's one thing that probably you will have to take into consideration while applying for universities. Along with that, the preparation wise, I think while you're doing your SOP, just try to ensure that if you have done a lot of projects in your undergrad, if you do not have work experience, then try to add a lot of undergraduate projects in your SOP. If you have work experience, try to highlight that work experience and how that work experience is basically going to impact the specialization that you have chosen in masters. So these things would be the key points that probably you want to keep in mind for your masters in the US.
Okay, sir. Sir, what was the reason of choosing the masters in computer architecture and VLSI design stream, sir? What was the main purpose behind this?
Since I started my career at Robert Bosch as a firmware, like a software developer for the firmware development. So I was already, very well versed with how the firmware works, in the hardware. But if you just go one step below the firmware, it's all about how your hardware is basically working. So you like what CPU does, what GPU does, what SoC does, how are the different hardware components interacting with each other. So that was something my area of interest. That's the reason I chose computer architecture, because computer architecture clearly tells you about all the the hardware architecture, how they're interconnected with each other at a very low level. So which was my area of interest. So that was the reason I chose computer architecture. Though you say it's a VLSI systems design, but I would say like 80% of the curriculum here in the US is focused on the front end aspects of the computer architecture, and 20% is focused on the VLSI aspects when you come to the static timing analysis, the transistor power related aspects, and all those things. So Backend is something, it's not my cup of tea. So I am mainly towards the front end computer architecture field and not towards the backend VLSI domain.
Sir, my next question is regarding the project you have done in your masters, and in addition to this question, what subjects and language one must prepare. And can you sort of specify each one specific, because we have the channels, the audience are watching to get. The audience they are who are watching, they are all VLSI centric courses, sir. So can you specify the courses that are necessary to master the VLSI domain, and especially the things the company is currently looking in the candidates?
Okay, so there is a very wrong, perception that people who ever come for VLSI, I have seen at least in my class here at USC, that they think that, okay, if it's VLSI, I just need to have knowledge about transistors, the characteristics of transistors, and the transistor theory, the power aspects, the delay aspects. But along with that, like once you join the industry, a lot of things are automated. It's not like you will be doing everything from the scratch. So programming language is one of the very important aspect that probably you need to have once you join the industry. Especially in the VLSI domain, I would say you should be very strong with respect to the scripting languages like Python, Perl, and Tickle. It's not needed that you have to know all the three languages like Python, Perl, Tickle, and Ruby. Rather, just try to master one of the scripting languages like Python. And once you learn Python, like the other languages, once you join the industry, once you're working on the project, then it's something becomes, it becomes easy for you to understand. So when it comes to scripting, I would say it's Python, Perl, Tickle, and Ruby. These four things you can take into consideration. But I would say like you can try to master with Python, because Python is a very good baseline that it gives to understand all the scripts and even write the scripts. Um, and one more programming language is definitely C++. So there are a lot of things, like if at all you look into the system Verilog concepts. So system Verilog is one of the, a very, a hot programming language, I would say, when it comes to the VLSI domain, if you're entering the verification domain. And system Verilog is completely based on the OOPS concept. So where does the OOPS concept comes from? OOPS concept comes from C++, because C++ is also completely based on OOPS concept. So having C++ knowledge and having the OOPS concept knowledge is very, very important. Every industry you will have at least, a one coding round, and they're going to ask you to write one C++ code, and they're going to ask you to write one Python code. So C++, OOPS, and when it comes to scripting, it's Python and Perl. These are the important programming languages that you will have to know, and industry demands that. So every interview, you can expect questions based on these languages.
Thank you for elaborating answer, sir. My next question is regarding your interview experience or for the internship at NVIDIA, sir. How it is difficult for you, sir, and also for the international students, how it is difficult for them to find for a job hunt is in the USA.
Okay, one thing, how difficult for international students like we Indians who come from India to the US to find a job over here. One thing is in India, I kind of feel that, most of the colleges have something called as on-campus placements. Like, you have a placement cell, you have a placement coordinator. So he's basically going to coordinate with the company's HR, and the companies are basically going to come to your college and you get recruited. But even in the US, you have something called as career fairs, but it is not that efficient. So there's no, a lot of spoon feeding done over here. Everything is something that you will have to do it on your own. So you just have to go to the company portal, apply in the company portal. Every day you need to keep checking whether there are new job updates. So kind of job hunt is basically, okay, getting interview calls is not that difficult, but once you get the call, how to crack the interview, that is difficult over here, because it's not only we Indian students are doing our masters over here. We equivalently have Chinese students who are very much, they are the ones who give, the competition, especially to us when it comes to the IT industry or the IT hub over here. So yeah, everything you will have to do it on your own. That is one thing, but yeah, it's not that difficult. But provided you have put all the required skills in your resume, and you are able to justify for the job role that you have applied, you will definitely get a call back.
Thank you for elaborating the answer, sir. Sir, my next question is regarding the, sir. What are the suggestions that you would like to give for future aspirants who want to choose this stream and seek job in this domain?
Well, so Yeah, so if you are planning to come to the US, as I said, do a lot of homework first before applying for the universities. Look for the course structure and just talk to your seniors, like whoever is in the US, asking them uh, how the course structure is, how the course is basically going to benefit whenever you're joining the industry after you graduate. That is one thing. And after coming here, anyways, like the college, the kind of education that you get in the US is really good. So it's going to be everything practical oriented. So try to master and try to understand each and every minute concepts of computer architecture and VLSI domain. Then you can go ahead and give interviews for the company. So that shouldn't be a big deal. But end of the day, again, it's in your hand of how do you want to crack the interview process. But having domain knowledge is very important. And if you're studying any new concept, just try to dive completely into the basics. Sometimes we miss out when you're doing our undergrad in India because the curriculum is basically structured that they mainly focus on the exams and the theory aspects. But here in the US, it's I would say it's like 90% of practical aspects and 10% of theory aspects. So yep.
Sir, my last question is that, sir, have you ever visited have you go through the VLSI for All YouTube channel, sir? And if so, what is your experience, sir?
Yeah, I think when Rajat contacted me, I've gone through the channel. I would say it's one of the very good initiative that you're doing because, for people who want to come and do the masters, abroad, not only the US as well as any other country in that specific domain. And if they do not have any of their relatives or any seniors with whom they want to talk, probably your channel is one of the platform which is helping them out. Today you're taking my reviews, like tomorrow you're going to take reviews of so many other employees who are working here in the industry and doing masters in the college. So in that way, taking inputs from each and everyone, taking feedback from each and everyone is really important. So your channel is really doing a great job for the VLSI aspirants. So good
Thank
work.
you, sir. Thank you, sir. Thank you. So we are in the end of this interview, sir, and before wrapping the interview, sir, could you give some motivation to tips to our viewers so that after watching this, they feel more motivated to work harder?
Uh, okay. I don't think I'm a right person to give a lot of tips, but based on my experience till date, like starting from India undergrad with the work experience, and after coming here masters and getting an internship and now getting a full-time offer, one thing what I want to suggest is if at all you have planned for masters, please don't delay that because once you join an industry after your undergrad, once you start getting, I don't know, it's my philosophy. Once you start getting money on hand, it's basically like the things get delayed. If you have planned for masters, I would say just quickly give the GRE exam, give the IELTS exam, try to get an admin from the college and try to do your master's. But one more thing, in case if you have a good opportunity to work in India after your undergrad, I would suggest at least take 2 years of work experience and then come over to do your master's because according to my analysis, especially in my class, I have almost like 75% of students who are fresh college pass out from India and they've come for masters, but 25 students are experienced students. And the quick response time that you get from an industry for the interview calls is usually for experienced students. You get the calls, and also if you have an experience in an industry, you will exactly know like what's happening in the industry and what exactly your team is working or your project is working on. So if you get an opportunity to work in a good company, I would say work for 2 years and then come for masters. If you are not getting a job in a very good company and it's not relevant to your domain, then I would say just come up for your masters. Just don't waste those 2 years and companies wherein it is not matching your requirement. So that's a tip that I can basically give for the future students who are planning to come to US for their masters.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for doing this, sir. It means a lot.
Yep.